right, welcome. Call to order for the Personnel Committee meeting for 10/30/19. I'm your chairman, Mark Grimm. The vice chair is Lynn Lukakis to my left. Hi, Lynn. I'm surprised there's no Halloween costumes here. Oh, no, I guess you're all dressed as Einsteins, because that's what you appear to me, but anyway. All right. First order of, Ally McLean Lane has a sick child at home. She hoped to make it tonight, but wasn't able to.
Are you going to do attendance? Or?
Yeah, we're going to.
Oh, okay.
Take members if we can introduce yourselves, please.
Lynn Lukakis, 8th District.
Rick Touche, 37.
Sean Ward, 16th Legislative District.
Travis Stevens, 31.
Joe O'Brien, the 25th, Loudonville and West Albany.
Ray Joyce, 13.
Okay. Approve the previous minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Touche, seconded by Mr. O'Brien. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. First item on the agenda is a pay equity study. Absent the sponsor, it's tabled.
Okay.
Second item, promoting a diverse workforce. Absent the sponsor is once again titled. Our third item, Resolution 356, rescinding a resolution that was previously passed, which would allow access to health insurance upon retirement at 15 years instead of what was 20 years. The sponsor, Mr. Frank Moriello, which I'd like to have say anything.
Am I up?
Yeah.
Okay. At our last meeting, we had discussed a questionnaire that we had sent to the county executive's office. We had asked questions about local law 356, and we wanted to get some additional information about the law itself. There were a number of questions that were asked of the county executive's office. And Mr. McLaughlin, who's here this evening, said that he would ensure that we had the answers to those questions this evening. So we did receive a memo about a week later, and it's dated October 3rd, with a response from the county executive's office. It's a very short memo, 2 paragraphs. So I'll go ahead and read it quickly, and we can go from there. In response to your inquiry, we wish to offer the following explanation of our role in the development process of Resolution 217 for 2019. After becoming aware of its introduction, the County Executive's Office and the Department of Human Resources was contacted to provide data specific to our current employees and who would be eligible under the rules of the resolution draft at the time. Both of those memos are attached for your review. At no time was the County Executive Office, the Department of Human Resources, or the Department of Law involved in drafting the language in Resolution 217. Second paragraph. In addition to this informational backup request, an informal verbal request was received for a fiscal impact statement. After much consideration, it was determined that such statement is not possible. One reason for this is the ambiguity of the language of the proposed resolution and who it would cover. More detail on this is outlined in the July 19th memo from the Department of Law, and that memo was distributed to everyone. We continue to maintain and have stated on several occasions that the cost over time of this resolution will be significant, but offering a specific number is not possible. So again, we have a little bit of a situation here where it is felt that the language in that initial resolution 356 is not clear. We're not really sure who it covers. So because of that, we really can't determine what the cost would be for this. So what I'm saying to the members of the legislature here is that I'm not saying that piece of legislation, the intent behind that piece of legislation was bad, nor am I saying it was good. What I'm saying is we're really not sure. We don't know. And this doesn't prevent, what we're doing by rescinding that does not prevent the sponsor or sponsors to reintroduce it at a later date with cleaned up language as well as the financial impact statement. I mean, if we have this resolution rescinded and reintroduced at a later date with proper language and the fiscal impact statement, at that time, we as legislators can make a more educated decision as to whether or not we want to pass this or not. At that time, maybe it won't cost as much as we anticipated, and maybe it'll pick up more votes. Maybe it'll cost more than what we anticipated, and it will fail. But right now, I think the county is kind of hanging out there. We're somewhat liable. If someone, Mr. Chairman, I'll pick on you because you're the chair of the committee. If someone were to come up to you and ask you, I see you passed Resolution 356, what's the cost to the county?
217.
No,
Resolution.
217, I'm sorry, 217. What's the cost to the county?
Millions of dollars,
Well, how do you know that?
because I talked to the controller about that, who won't put a number on it, but it's pretty clear to me that it's millions of dollars.
Well,
cost.
but you know what? I mean, I don't want to argue with you, but we really don't know. Yes, it could cost millions of dollars. Maybe it doesn't, but we don't know. So why don't we rescind this so that we can, if somebody wants to, they can reintroduce it with clear language and the proper fiscal impact statement, and then we move forward from there and not leave the county hanging as it is right now. So that's...
Okay. Thank you, Minority Leader Morial. Member question?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ward?
First of all, this topic was brought up during a workplace or a workforce conference right here in this room last year during the budget process. And I've stated this many times. And it was stated by department heads and human resources. Mr. O'Brien, I think you were the chair of the commission at that, or you were part of it. They stated at that time that they were having a hard time hiring professional people in top-level positions because they were either staying here and going to the state or for higher jobs, or they were having a hard time attracting even commissioners, which are high-paying jobs, because of the fact that there was a 20-year requirement on health insurance. Now, we changed that years ago during my time in this legislature. It was 10 years, and we were going through some lean times, and we thought that we could save some money doing so. And in doing that, the unintended consequence is the fact that we were hurting our own efforts to recruit top-level talent to the county. And that's evident when, we've heard over the years that when I was chair of personnel, we had commissioner and deputy commissioners where we had very few applications for those jobs. And a lot of the reason for that brought up, and it was brought up during that meeting, was the health insurance issue. So I was always in favor. Most municipalities do have a 10-year requirement, and I thought that was reasonable. I was in favor of a 10-year requirement. I agreed to a 15-year requirement, which is what we passed. And I want to remind you, this bill did pass by a pretty good amount. I can't remember the exact.
I can tell you.
It was 24?
28.
28, okay. We had 28 votes in favor, so it was no more than 11 against. And if we're going to clean up a bill, and I have no objection to looking at a cleanup bill, but usually don't rescind the original resolution. You put in a cleanup bill to clean up the resolution. So I'm not in favor of rescinding a resolution at all. In fact, I'd like to send this to the floor with an unfavorable recommendation from this committee. I'll make that motion if it's appropriate.
Okay, motion by Mr. Ward, seconded by Mr. Boucher.
I'd like to make a motion that this goes out with a favorable.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Well, he's got to,
We got to vote on his.
Were you here last night?
No, yeah, according to it's my position that
I wasn't
the
here.
first motion that's
Well,
made
maybe
is
council
voted
can
on,
explain that from us.
contrary to what happened at our meeting last night.
the chairman is correct. It's the chairman's, in this case, the chairman is in charge of order and decorum in these committee hearings. It is his call how he decides to run these hearings, and it sounds like he's made a decision.
I just want to make sure, any other member want to speak on this, first of all? Frank, go ahead.
And I have no objection to that, more debate.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Imagine that coming from me.
There is a motion on the floor, I recognize. And Mr. Morial has some comment.
Just wanted to comment on a couple of things Mr. Ward said. First of all, I think the intent of the law was good in that we feel that we need to do something to attract qualified, skilled, and talented people to the county. And I understand that, you know, that's fine. But without knowing the true cost of this, I don't see how we could do that. And I can understand where you may want to go in and make changes to this and modify it and such. But the wheels of government turn very slow. And by the time we get around to cleaning up the language and submitting another financial impact statement, it could be 6 to 9 months from now. So that's why, rather than keeping the county hanging out there and possibly liable for, you know, for to be sued, maybe it's better we just rescind it now and then have the sponsors come back and reintroduce it. And that's fine, because I bet you it'll take them 6 to 9 months before they can clean up the language and do a proper financial impact statement.
Mr. Moriello, I brought this topic up 4 years ago, and it took 4 years to get it passed, the first time.
Mhm.
So, and I wasn't the sponsor of it this time, but I brought it up as an issue,
Um,
talking with individuals.
To be reduced to 15 years?
Well, I told you, my proposal was 10 years.
Was 10.
first. But to go back to where it was, and it's also in line with what other municipalities in the area do.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying I'm opposed to it, and I'm not saying I'm in favor. I just think we need to have the proper facts, and especially the financial information in front of us to make that determination. So that's why, and again, it takes time. It takes time to put all this together, so I feel it should be rescinded, and then let the sponsors come back with another one. You know, that's fine.
Okay, the motion is to send this to the full floor with an unfavorable recommendation. Now, I oppose this because I want this to go to the floor with a positive recommendation, but that's not going to be the vote here.
That's why we have votes.
That's why we oppose, right. So all those in favor of sending it to the floor with an unfavorable recommendation, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, those opposed? 2, Brim and Stevens. All right, it moves to the floor with unfavorable recommendation. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Morial. We appreciate your participation, and to the members.
Thanks, Frank.
A motion to adjourn. Mr. O'Brien? Second by Mr. Boucher. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you all very much, and happy Halloween.